Johnny Depp will appear in Rihanna's Savage X Fenty Volume 4, and fans are begging her to read the room. There's actually 2 articles on this. We have your article as well here from timcast.com that says, do you want to give them the headline? You do better with the snarky headlines.
Sure. Amber Heard stans are big mad at Rihanna for featuring Johnny Depp in her lingerie show. I had to write about this, firstly, because I love drama so much, but also it's been a while since we've been regularly talking about Johnny Depp and where his career is at. He's been slowly getting restored to A-list status in different ways. He was reintroduced as the face of Dior Sauvage. He made that bizarre. I didn't know that was a part maybe of Savage. That would be fitting.
Oh.
He even made that like bizarre appearance at the VMAs months ago, where it was just his face inside the Moon Man costume, hanging above, and then asking for any work anyone has for him, which was a little bit demeaning.
And if I have it right, it's going to be something similar with the Fenty show, because he's not going to be there in person.
So this Fenty show is going to premiere on Amazon Prime, and it's just showing her lingerie collection, but he's going to be modeling her men's collection in the line. And he has like a video cameo, so he's not going to be there in person, but it's just like something he already shot for it that is going to be shown in it. And people are questioning her decision. Specifically, Amber Heard supporters are pushing back on Rihanna for featuring Johnny Depp in this show, because this supposedly means that she is backing or promoting a domestic abuser.
I want to point out this first tweet in the Uprocks article that I originally had, which calls him a groomer, and I don't know where that allegation came from.
That allegation comes from him, I think they said he dated a 17-year-old when he was 27.
Okay, so
I have no idea who that was. Okay. But believable, given that was like back in the 90s, right?
It was the 90s. Things were
genuinely things were so different.
Yeah, there was a lot of rock stars that did that.
Today we were having a discussion about like have you guys ever heard the myth that Marilyn Manson got his rib removed so that he could...
He could...
Don't need to finish it.
He could what now?
I was talking to someone about how did myths like that permeate so far into culture without the internet. Like that was a thing.
Old wives' tales, the richness of culture.
The internet wasn't really a thing when that came out, right?
I don't think not internet video. That's for sure.
So
now everything gets fact checked
to
oblivion, and you can't spread rumors anymore.
And earlier we were talking about Jerry Seinfeld apparently dating a 14-year-old when he was like, and that was another one that I had heard.
Is this confirmed though?
I have no idea.
Because I looked that up, and then that was still unclear. Yeah. So, in case someone comes for us for defamation, we didn't say that that's factual, but I like that there's a rumor mill, and I don't like the fact checking.
I'm seeing that Jerry dated a 17-year-old when he was 38 in the early 90s, according to cheatsheet.com.
I think that's the official narrative. But anyway, that's why Johnny Depp was getting called a groomer. And then I saw some really savage remarks about him on Twitter, and I love a good like Twitter smackdown, even if it's undeserved. I find it so funny.
You're so evil sometimes.
And I even admitted that Johnny Depp's persona, that he's like this rugged bad boy rock star, is a little bit like played out and kind of embarrassingly not age appropriate for him since he's like nearing 60.
His face is very puffy these days.
I know. It's alcohol.
I don't mean to hate on him for it, because it's like, I'm sure there are a lot of reasons he hasn't taken care of himself. But here are some comments people had for him on Twitter. Sorry, this is just taking me out. Violent abuser aside, who wants to see this decaying old man in underwear? Good question. Aside from him being a drunkard wife beater, how do you look at that man and think, yes, this bloated corpse will be the face of my lingerie business? Another good question.
I'm just glad they used drunkard in the sentence.
Bloated corpse was really...
Yeah, ouch. I had the computer read this all to me in a robot voice. It was really funny.
but
so brave of Rihanna to bring awareness to erectile dysfunction.
Yeah, that's a good one.
But to be honest, I mean, what they're talking about, they're just saying everything that was hearsay as if fact, and I hate that.
They're spreading the hearsay, and they're also like basically attacking him based on his age. Yeah. Now, I understand that, like, I don't think old people in lingerie is the most tantalizing thing in the world. I'd rather not look at Johnny Depp or anyone in their 60s in underwear. But if Rihanna thought that was the marketing move to make for her brand, then
who's the audience she's courting with?
Right, it's confusing because Rihanna's audience and the people that buy her products are definitely girls in their 20s, girls in their 30s. Well, probably.
There was a large contingency of young women outside of the Depp trial that were all in support of Johnny Depp. So maybe she's just got her marketing team. They're like, look at all these broads.
Right, and who knows, like... But then they're marketing this stuff that he's modeling to men, but... Maybe they're drawing more of a female audience for this show just based on that, like, he has a lot of, like, simps. So like, he has a lot of female simps out there who want to see him in underwear.
So the idea,
oddly enough,
would be that you get the audience of the women that liked him, but you don't get them to come in to buy his stuff. You get them to buy the female stuff that other models are advertising.
Yeah, I suppose so. Maybe, but we don't even know how deeply she's thought into this or if someone made the decision on her behalf. But anyway... People were not letting her off the hook for partnering with him because he has such a controversial past or reputation. It's still in question, even though he's gotten a lot of institutional support back after his defamation trial with Amber Heard. Her supporters are still very stringently on her side. They are still a presence on Twitter. I don't know how many of them are bots or real people, but they are like merciless.
Remember, there is no Amber Heard on Twitter anymore because Elon Musk bought Twitter, and she
her account has mysteriously disappeared. It would have been funnier though if he had just suspended her account instead of her deactivating it.
It's the same thing with Grimes. Like he just goes through and just unfriends and deletes every.
I should check Grimes's recent tweets if she has any.
Are they on good terms?
Maybe she's gone silent.
I think they're on fairly good terms.
I mean, they've got to be, right? Because they had a baby by surrogacy even after they split up.
They did.
Which is odd, but I guess, for Elon, that's normal.
He doesn't look at like anything like that as romantic anyways. He looks at it all
as
purely like
as I've said,
engineering.
Like Elon Musk is basically asexual.
Yeah.
If it were an option for him to have babies by like single cell division, he would absolutely do so. He is not interested in women.
And then give you a logical explanation as to why that's the right. He's like, well, I've only got so much time in the day, right? And the amount of time it takes.
It's about efficiency only.
I bet if he was here, he would deny those claims.
I agree with Ian, though.
He seems to like the ladies.
Yeah.
Well, let's see if he refutes me then.
Yeah.
That's a challenge.
Step up to the plate, bro.
So these are some of the other posts that were being very negative towards Johnny Depp. It says everyone, or towards Johnny Depp and towards
Rihanna.
Rihanna.
Don't say Rihanna. Rihanna is just the colloquial way to say it.
Everyone is shocked that Rihanna supports Johnny Depp as if she wasn't posing with Nicki Minaj and her sex offender husband last year.
Now, this is actually true, and I went to Nicki Minaj's Instagram and saw the picture where she was posing with her and her husband, who is, in fact, a registered sex offender, and he is also on a year house arrest for not updating his status as in the sex offender registry.
When they moved.
Yeah.
When you move to a new jurisdiction, you have to let
as
the
far as
local
I
population know.
Still on house arrest for that reason. That's true.
Some of the other ones, it says Rihanna giving Johnny Depp clout is actually a really good example of why it means nothing when someone says, quote, as a victim of domestic violence, I support Johnny Depp. Like, sorry, like that you went through that. Like, sorry you went through that. However, it is still very not okay to support abusers. I think what they're misinterpreting there is that what that person's saying is that as a domestic abuse victim, I was able to look at the facts of this case and I don't find him guilty. Not that I believe that he was guilty and that's okay.
Yeah, but I also think it's questionable to decide that just because someone has been the victim of domestic abuse that they're able to clear someone of allegations or be sure that they are guilty or not. Like, that's not your place or your authority to do that. That's for the legal system to figure out, and you're also not in charge of the court of public opinion as much as you can try to be.
I think
so. Like, I saw people saying because Rihanna is, like this person said, Rihanna is a survivor herself. She knows one when she sees one. Why else would she invite him? Sit and think about that one. I don't know if you do know one when you see one just because you've experienced that before with Chris Brown. And Also,
and abuse takes many forms anyways, so it's not like you could you'd be able to pick that person out of a, isn't that literally judging a book by its cover?
Yeah. And I heard on a podcast that Rihanna did with Oprah Winfrey, actually, she fully said that she forgives Chris Brown and still wishes him well, and they have no hard feelings, no grudge.
Do you think that it's possible that she feels some amount of guilt, like that she acted out in like it was a mutually bad relationship?
I mean, that's
Not
at least
guilt,
the
not
story
guilt,
that Chris Brown says happened. He says that she began the physical violence, altercation, but that he feels he overreacted.
There's a whole, I mean, that's like a whole cottage industry on the internet of women just beating up men in public because the man can't do anything about it. Like, that's a whole thing of videos that people watch.
I lived next door to this couple 10 years ago or so, and I could hear through the walls, I could hear him murmuring, like, and the guy'd come home, and then they'd get into a fight, and he would start hitting her sometimes.
Thank you, guys.
Party on! What a great
so
topic.
Nice to hear that again.
And one night, I heard her walk into the room and be like, meh, meh, meh. And he was like, meh? And she went, meh, 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 meh. And he went, meh, meh, meh. And he started to get, and then she was egging him on. And then he started screaming and smashing furniture on the ground. And she was screaming. So I called the cops. But she started it. She provoked him with her words. I listened to it. It was crazy.
And of course, that doesn't make it okay.
Did you tell the cop that when they got there?
No, I didn't.
So
that
she
never
went.
Makes it okay, but there is two sides to every story. That was a Bill Burr skit where he talks about. He goes, "You think that he's like, you think that she was just like asking for directions?" And he's just like,
yeah,
like no. Or do you think they were having some epic end of the relationship fight, and she said something crazy or hit him first, and then he responded? Like, it doesn't make it okay, but you have to understand
there are the complexities.
Yeah.
To those real life situations that we're not privy to, and especially in the Johnny Depp Amber Heard case. I mean, it really was about defamation, not about abuse, but there are things that we just can't know about what happened between them behind closed doors, and Rihanna can't know. And just because she experienced similar things, she can't know, and she can't decide for the public what they think of Johnny Depp. But I think that PR-wise, this will be good for her brand.
It will.
And it's good for Johnny Depp.
And it kind of feels like maybe no matter what you think these celebrities are, who they don't live in the same world as you, and they don't judge anything by the same metrics that you do. That normal people do. Also, there are people that had to go and somehow try to make this political. There was this thing from Breitbart where Drew Dixon, she says, Johnny Depp has been embraced as a hero by unhinged right-wing misogynist extremists, and now has been invited to appear at the Savage X Fenty show. Never expected such a powerful woman to succumb to the Me Too backlash. Really disappointing at Rihanna. They can't get away from anything and not make it political in some fashion or other. And the other thing is, this also shed light onto what's going on with Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie right now.
Yeah.
Because his name, he has recently had allegations made against him by his ex-wife, and the public isn't, at least not buying it offhand. They're like, we need more
The framing of like Depp versus Heard has definitely changed the way that the public responds to these public figures having legal disputes about like domestic violence. And this isn't just domestic violence. We actually know that the FBI investigated a situation where Brad Pitt allegedly got in an altercation with his son on an airplane going across state lines. That's why it ended up in the FBI's jurisdiction. Yep. That's part of it, but there's also the legal disputes that they have after they're split for their shared property. And I mean, that's a whole other situation where they had like this vineyard, and it and then there was also, I remember a story about how Brad Pitt wanted to find ancient gold
on property
underneath the foundations of their shared property.
It's also suspect for him because every time Angelina Jolie keeps talking about this now, it's right when he has a movie coming out. She did it when Bullet Train was coming out, and now she's doing it when Babylon's coming out. So she's like,
it's sinister, But I mean, it makes sense if you want the most eyes on it. But the two things he's leading in Babylon, which is an interesting story given that he's about to put out a Harvey Weinstein dramatized like movie about the fall of Harvey Weinstein.
What is Babylon?
Babylon is about the early days of Hollywood and what it took in those that Wild West type of period to stay in the spotlight.
Yeah.
So I know Margot
Should be
Robbie is
interesting.
also in it. So just on that grounds alone, I want to see it. And this new Harvey Weinstein related film is called She Said. And we were talking about that also because Harvey Weinstein's lawyers wanted to postpone his current trial in LA past the release of that movie so that the media would die down about it, but they were denied that request.
Harvey Weinstein, as I said.
Harvey Weinstein, Steinwein.
As I said in the thumbnail. So at the very least, it's forcing people to be more It's forcing people to be more cautioned
More
when they throw out
discerning.
more discerning when they hear allegations, and they're not just going to react emotionally and just take someone's word for it, because as soon as one false claim or of that kind comes forward, then everyone suffers after that.
It's kind of like building calluses on your fingers as a musician. The Me Too movement slowly calloused up the minds of the masses, and now they're just like, show me the evidence.
Well, they realize that you can't put neither men nor women on a pedestal, otherwise you're ripe to be manipulated emotionally when you do that. So.
And I know this is impossible because the nature of celebrities in legal disputes is that it's salacious and the media will obsess over it, and people will make opinions about it, and that even has a risk of influencing the jury. But what I said throughout Johnny Depp versus Amber Heard was, I just don't have an opinion on this because I don't know these people. I don't know what happened behind closed doors between them. And really, this just makes everyone on every side look so ugly. And it's being used as a proxy war between men and women, where these two individuals who are very troubled and very unique and who have not lived a life anything like an ordinary person are in a dispute that somehow represents the gender-based war going on in the culture right now. And they don't represent all men or all women.
It's not a good comparison to what the general population goes through when it comes to their gender dynamics with people of the opposite sex.
And I don't like the comparisons between any of these celebrity trials, like Evan Rachel Wood and Marilyn Manson. They are not an analog to Amber Heard and Johnny Depp. That's just not how it works. They're individual people with their own unique case and details and relationship and experience. So I don't like the media circus picking up on each one of these things just so it can mirror Depp versus Heard.
And let's face it, like you're never going to get that much interest on a regular case of just Joe Schmo 32 on Twitter, who's got a case coming up against his ex-wife, because people just won't take the interest in that they do in celebrities. But it's also
and Joe Schmo shouldn't think that Johnny Depp did anything to advance his cause.
Nope.
Joe Schmo was not Johnny Depp.
Neither of them should. You should not look for these people for any type of way of getting ahead in the world, nor should you look at them as examples, shining examples of how to treat other people.
Exactly.
Thanks for watching this clip, guys. If you want to see full episodes or follow us on social media, links are in the description below. Bye.